A very good morning to all of you. Nice to hear such a fresh morning. Everybody very, very awake, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So everybody is first year students of MBA?
Yes, ma'am.
How many of you are interested in entrepreneurship? Can I see a raise of hands? Nobody is interested to work in a job, or everybody wants to become an entrepreneur? I'm glad to hear that. But before we jump into today's session, I think Sir has given a huge, huge introduction about me, so I will not waste time introducing myself. So let's begin the session. The session is going to be very interactive. I want each one of you to participate in the session. This is your session. You can stop me anytime in between and we can ask questions. So to just begin, I want all of you to look at this picture here. And I want all of you to take a minute and think what comes to your mind when you see this picture in terms of success and growth. Look at this picture and I want all of you to see and how does it connect these two words, success and growth, when you look at this picture. If you have your notebooks, if certain points come to your mind, I'll just give you a minute. Let's pen it down and then I'll take few answers. I've shown this picture to more than 80,000 to 1 lakh people, right from 5-year-olds to 70-year-old. Every time I have got a very different perspective when I've shown this picture. Let's see what perspective today's session you people want when you look at this picture. Can we do that? So let's have 1 minute. Look at the picture. See each stone very carefully. Analyze the picture. And whatever comes in your mind, the first thought when you look at this picture, in the essence of success, growth, career, whatever comes to your mind, please pen it down. There could be 10 points, there could be 20 points, there could be 2 points. Whatever comes to your mind, please write it down. It's your visualization. There's nothing right or wrong. So let's write it down. So it's 9:44 by the watch. 9:45 we can start our sharings. Done? Let's have few sharings. Can we raise our hands, whosoever is ready? Yes, please. Okay, it is exhibiting focus. What about you? Huh? Balance. Yes. Foundation needs to be strong. Yep. Ups and downs in life. Risk. One by one.
At first it's hard to take first step, but afterwards it's becoming easier to do.
It is hard to take the first step and afterwards it becomes easier. Somebody else. Proper? Proper ideology. Okay. Something else? Great. Yes. Step by step process. Yes. Consistency. Never give up. Coordination. Hard work. Yes. Taking risk. Look at the picture very fine. Yes. Balance is really important. First, I need a lot of information. He says the stone is broader down. That is that I need to gather loads of information. And then I climb up and up. Okay. The background is blur. Don't take others' opinion so seriously. Okay. Yes. Yes? Okay. Start step by step to grow your future life. Somebody else? Somebody else? Look at, yes. The top stone, the side to the foundation. It is on the edge, so you can fall anytime. Okay? Yes? Narrow down my thoughts to particular specialization. Okay? Okay, dream big and then take step by step. Yes? Leave? Okay, that's a good one. Something else? Yes? Okay. Louder. He says smart work wins rather than hard work. And what makes you think that? By seeing the last stone. Okay. Something else? Yes? Backup plan. The two stones sitting sidewise, that is my backup plan. Okay? I like that. Yes? A plan B. Anything else? Anybody, anything else? Okay. So, most of the perspectives which you have shared, other people have also shared the same. But few perspectives I'm going to share which were very amazing and maybe could not come to your head. You can see those two stones towards the side. Yeah? So I was taking a session, a 5-year-old boy stood up and I asked him, what does this picture mean to you? Because for them, success and career are very heavy words. He said, ma'am, it's not necessary that the view needs to be always good at the top. It is very risky. Those two stones are comfortable and I'm happy there. I can get down whenever I want to play. If I climb so up, life might be hard. And such a beautiful, deep meaning. Each person needs to have your own journey of success. Not necessary everybody wants to be the CEO and the founder. There could be some people who are happy maybe being a manager. Yeah? When we talk about entrepreneurship, it's not that everybody wants to establish a unicorn. There could be somebody who is happy making 1 lakh profit a month or 50,000 profit a month and they are happy with that. So it's so important that before we start anything in life, you need to know what's your definition of success. What is your goal that you are chasing? Everybody doesn't want to become the top notch, right? And that's okay. It's not that you're dreaming small, everybody needs to be there. That is somebody else's definition of success. Just to give you an example, maybe there are 2 students and one scores brilliantly in maths and the other one hardly passes in maths. So,
yes? Yes or no? Yes, okay, fine. So how many of you now want to become an entrepreneur? Okay, setting up your own business, prototypes. Anybody have any prototypes is ready in your mind? In your mind. Okay, I can see the hands coming up. Thank you. So thank you so much, ma'am. I would like, I request Rupa ma'am to hand over a token of thanks to our guest. Oh, sorry. Students is not. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so students, you'll take a 5-minute break. Okay, then you will gather in your respect.
the person who gets, he's got 90 marks, the person who's brilliant in maths, trying to get 100 out of 100 or 95, studying. Person who's failing in maths gets around 40 marks, sometimes 35. He or she is trying that I should not fail this time. Both of them have put their hard work, result has come. So when the result came, this person who got 35 has got 45, and the person who got 90 has got 75. So the person who's got 75 is crying, and the person who's got 45 is dancing. Now, if you see from outside, you'll think these two are mad. With 75, he's crying, and with 45, he is dancing. But that's person's success from 35 to 45, and that's person's failure because he was at a height and he came down. That was their understanding of their success. So it's so important that while sitting here, when you're studying, you need to understand where you want to reach. And that's your goalpost, and that's your destination. And it is okay to change your goalpost from time to time because you will be evolving from time to time. Right? Now this word entrepreneurship is a very, very fancy word. And suddenly, by watching Shark Tank, we all want to become entrepreneurs. So I'm not trying to discourage you, but there are certain wrong reasons to become an entrepreneur. And these are few wrong reasons. I want to become an entrepreneur because I want to be rich. It's better you join a corporate job. There's a lot of struggle being an entrepreneur in the initial years. Right? If that's the reason that you're chasing, probably very wrong reason to become an entrepreneur. The second one, because I hate my job. In entrepreneurship also you're working. As all my friends are doing that, and he is becoming an entrepreneur, and especially in social media, people have made corporate jobs as real villains. As if you are doing corporate slavery, this word. It's not like that. In entrepreneurship also, you might not be listening to your boss orders, but you're listening to each and every person, the clients, the customers. At the end of the day, you are doing something for the people. So if somebody says, I want to become an entrepreneur because I hate my job, I don't want to take orders from anybody, again, a very, very wrong reason to become an entrepreneur. So before we start the session on entrepreneurship, one thing should be very clear. Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? If your why is not clear, you'll take a twist and turn. And then you might regret in life. Just because 10 people are doing it and it looks fancy to you and it is easy money, no, it's not easy money. That's a day in an entrepreneur's life. There's a lot of ups and downs. There are a lot of abilities which are required to become an entrepreneur. A lot of risk-taking, a lot of emotional intelligence needs to be very, very high. You need to manage a lot of aspects of business. So it's not necessary that we all are made up to become entrepreneurs. So analyze yourself as a person. Do I really want to become an entrepreneur, or do I have the capabilities or skills? And if you don't have the skills, if you still want to become an entrepreneur, first work on your skills. Right? So just because something is fancy, we don't want. Now, it's just a definition. What is a startup? Now, I want all of you to think on these two words. Is passion more important or ideation more important to become an entrepreneur? Both? A balance, because the picture says so. Yes, both are important. You need to be passionate about the problem that you're solving, and you also need to have a good ideation. You can be passionate about something, but if there is no market for that idea, you are not going to make money. It is going to be an expensive hobby. And here we are not going to indulge in expensive hobbies. Right? Okay. So, how do you choose an idea? Do you choose the first idea which comes to your mind, or do you choose and wait for the perfect idea? Neither you wait for a perfect idea. Perfection is an illusion. So you explore your ideas. You need to start working on your ideas. Be flexible, be adaptable. Just to give you a little insight, my first job, second job, not the first one, I was working as a QA head for a US Chinese chain in Delhi. It was called as Mark Pie. all the mother sauces were from US. So we're trying to replicate the same model in India. And they had opened some 5 restaurants. It was a disaster. Nobody was liking the taste of the mother sauces because US Chinese was, that particular brand was supposedly sweet. And Indian taste palette was not okay with those tastes. The founder, Mr. Ashish Chand, today has 100 outlets, but the whole plan is changed. He's running a chain of biryani and rolls. So you need to be very flexible, adaptable with your business idea. But closing of one restaurant after the other, for me it was a great learning. Earlier at that age, at an age of 22, I also found, wow, this is so enticing, this is so refreshing. Even today, tomorrow I can become an entrepreneur. But I saw the downfall. How we would wait and there would be no customers, how negative reviews we would get. So important that we need to be flexible and adaptable. Because if we are rigid, this is what I will do, and I'm not going to change, that's now how the idea evolves. So we start with something and keep evolving and don't wait for something which is perfect. Because perfection never exists. It's better to get things done rather than waiting it to be perfect. Yeah? So I want all of you have carrying notebooks, right? I want all of you to do an activity for me. I want all of you to draw a scenery for me without looking into each other's notebook. Can we draw a scenery in 2 minutes? We drew a lot of sceneries when we were children. Can we do that? Yes? Can we draw one scenery? I am sure we did when we were children. Yes? Can we draw a scenery, all of you? So let's take 2 minutes and draw a scenery. I'm sure this doesn't require cheating. I'm hoping everybody's carrying pen and papers. Yep. So we'll take last 1 minute. Is it done? Yeah? We have artists here. Done. Okay. You know, I've not seen any of your notebooks, but I know exactly what you have drawn. I'll show you 3 pictures. You have drawn exactly the same. Now, I'm not a mentalist, but I know exactly what you have drawn. Right? Right? How many completely different than this? 1. Oh, there are few. Okay. Okay. So, still I can see that around 70% of you have drawn something like this. True? Yes? Tell me, in Bangalore, where do you see all these scenes? School drawing book. Are we still in schools? Our brains have developed, correct? When I told you to draw scenery, why didn't we draw traffic of Bangalore? Why didn't we draw anything else, maybe a McDonald's, maybe anything that you see? Scenery could be any scenery, right? And where, even if you go into hills, mountains are only triangles. And where, if you, in Bangalore only, how many colors? Sky is only blue in color? You look at the sky in the evenings, you'll see such beautiful colors. But if I would have, we didn't have that much time, if I would have given you colors, I'm sure everybody's sky would have been blue. Now I want to ask you this question to all of you. I want all of you to think that why did we draw this scenery? Why could not we draw something which is more relatable, which is more close to reality? Why did we draw something like this? One by one. Picture of scenery is captured in your mind from childhood because teacher told you to draw this way. But you have evolved, brain has grown, but are we still stuck there? Something else? Think deeply, why did we draw this scenery? This is more appealing to the eyes. If I draw the sky a little bit red, yellow, will it not be that appealing to the sky? Because our teachers restricted us to think certain way. So welcome to the real world when it is entrepreneurship or when it is even job. And especially this IRE, that is in word innovation there, research. People would be thinking out of the box. But what happens? Our brain is thinking only in a certain pattern. Now, how do I think differently? Raise your hand, how many of you think that you're creative? How many of you think that you're creative? Half creative. Okay, one person thinks he's creative. Two. That's all. Now let me tell you, human brain has two parts, the left hand side and the right hand side of your brain. And each person sitting here is creative. The sad part is our education system works on the analytical side of the brain, which is also very important. But it is so important to now start sharpening and using the other side of the brain. It is present with you, only we are not experimenting. And how it will happen when you'll start exploring things. If I ask you, which are your hobbies, you'll tell me one or two things, what you have tried. But there might be 20 other things which you have not even tried. Unless you try things, how are you going to understand this I like, this I don't like? So the first thing is be curious about each and everything and explore. In entrepreneurship, the first thing is ask why for everything. If your why is not clear, how to do, what to do will come later on. Why you want to do this? That's the first question. Even when you come to college and you're sitting in this session, what is the first question? Why I need to sit in this class? Why should I listen to her? If your why is not only attendance and that credit, what you're getting, then somebody will be sleeping behind. But if somebody's why is, yes, I want to learn something, maybe I get some meaning, would be sitting very attentive. And if somebody's why the attendance doesn't matter, would be sleeping at home today. Right? That why brings the seriousness in the session or the coming sessions, whatever you attend. When your brain says, this is not important, do you pay attention? No. So, that's side of the brain, you need to start asking your why. So now let's jump to frameworks, some rough frameworks for ideation. So whenever you're thinking of a business idea, I would like to give you some frameworks for ideation. So the first one is defragmenting. So what is the word defragmenting? Is things are scattered and I bring them together. Like Zomato is a beautiful example of a startup of defragmenting. Now how did it start? Two IITians started this. They were working in corporates and they were all bachelors. They had to order food. And there was a place where that time there was no search engines, right? So they had to go, call, and then order food. So they had to wait in huge queues. Even to order food, they had to wait for 2 hours. So these two IITians who started Zomato started their company with the name called as Foodie Bay. So what did they do? They just made a website. Nearby restaurants, they put everything in that website with prices so people don't waste time in choosing what they want to eat. Soon this website was flooded. And then came the idea, let's expand this. And that is what Zomato came up. And they changed their name because they didn't want a rhyming name with eBay. So what did they do? They gathered information from all the restaurants. They made food deliverable at your place. Everything at one. Otherwise you have to look for menu. You will see what you want to eat. Then you will call one particular restaurant. And maybe you'll send somebody to get your food. So they gathered and made everything. So any idea which is based on defragmenting is a good framework to start with. Another good business idea framework is disintimidation. Ola is a beautiful, beautiful example of this. Earlier, you are born into that age where you have always seen Ola. But earlier, if you ask your parents that time also cabs were available. So you had to call some local driver, that person will bring the car, not reliable, you are not even trusting, you don't know how to make the payment. Everything at your phone now. You see the ratings of the drivers, you can cancel the ride, you see the rates, you know this much I'm going to spend. Nobody's going to ask you exorbitant just because you're new in the city. So they cancelled the in-between steps and made one. Another framework is utilizing the underutilized resources. Now what do I mean by this? You might have some resource, but you're not using it. Airbnb was a brilliant idea on this. Brian Chesky, founder of Airbnb, was himself finding difficult to get rooms, struggling for food. And when he bought a 3 BHK apartment, his first idea, he said, let me give 2 rooms for rent. Very weird idea to listen to. Who would go and stay in somebody's house? But Airbnb became so big because he believed that if I have 2 rooms, these are underutilized resources, I don't need, maybe somebody needs like me, and it became into such a big idea. So whenever you're trying to solve a problem, there it is important. You don't search an idea, you search a problem. So the question is not about idea searching, the question is about problem searching. What is that one problem that you want to solve, which is important? Then bridging supply and demand. There were no laundry services earlier. In Mumbai, there is a big Aapka Dhobi, some company like this. They were the pioneers to start laundry service. Earlier, nobody thought, okay, somebody can collect dirty clothes, wash my clothes, iron it and give it back to me. That service is, local maids would come and wash. Then you're having problem that this cloth you didn't wash properly. Then you're fighting with the iron guy. There was a huge demand, but supply was not there. People had not ventured into it. So identify problems which are not met in the market, unmet markets. After that, new combinations. You must, lot of apparel industry, Vunik, Style Cracker Box. Many people have started now in COVID. What are they doing? Otherwise, what you do, you go to a shop, you buy a cloth, then you see, is this matching to my accessories? Should I buy a... Now, the Style Cracker Box, they customize, they see your body type, they design the whole outlook. Again, it was a hit because now it's a combination of few things together. And last but not the least is global success. What has become hit outside, slowly, steadily is going to come here. But if you become late in starting it, then you don't achieve success. Like vegan restaurants. It is a concept which came in West first, and then it expanded here. So there are certain ideas which are very, very successful abroad. Be the first movers to get that. Google was not the first search engine, let me tell you. But the way they executed was fabulous. So your ideation is really, really important. Another example I would give you about Chai Point. He's another person from IIMs. People were opening coffee chains after coffee chains because it was hidden abroad. But 80% of the Indian population prefers tea over coffee. I'm not talking about only the southern region. I'm talking about India as a whole. And there was no hygienic place to have tea. You could only get tea at the tapri outside the college. He was the pioneer and he made tea deliverable. Who thought people will call up and say, please give me 5 cups of tea? Today also if you go and order tea, your mother is going to murder you, I'm sure. Because still it doesn't sit well in the head. But if you see so many bachelors, you see so many people who are living on their own, they do order tea from Chai Point. And it's a very successful model. And there have been joints who have started this idea after Chai Point, like Chayos and many other. They are struggling with their. So who is the pioneer and who moves fast? Fast movers is something which is very, very important. You might not be a pioneer. And in entrepreneurship, never bother about that somebody is going to steal my idea. Because believe me, what you have thought, somebody else who has thought that before you, somewhere, some part of the world, only it was not executed well. So when I do sessions and when we sit for pitches, entrepreneurs, new serial startup entrepreneurs are very scared. Ma'am, somebody's going to copy mine. They will copy if they execute faster, definitely. So your execution plan and certain things. This Bangalore store, IKEA. Why they are so successful? Because it's not only the concept of durable furniture or accessible furniture, stylish furniture, pocket friendly. It is the production unit. If somebody wants to start a manufacturing like IKEA, it would not be possible. They transport everything in flat boxes. So it reduces their transportation cost a lot. If somebody tries to replicate it, they need to have that. From last 20 years, nobody is able to still master Domino's delivery model. Many people have started, Zomato is doing, Swiggy is doing, but the way Domino's does for themselves, 20 years people are scratching their head. How are Domino's delivering? I myself have sat down because I work with a lot of restaurants and hotels to see the way they work. It is phenomenal. So your backbone behind the ideation is very, very important. What problem you are solving, for whom you are solving, do you have a market for that problem? Not just because I want to sell this. Yes, you could be a good businessman, a mid-scale business, and if that's your aim, it's okay. If you say, I'm going to earn 50-60,000, my father has a garment shop, I'm going to run that garment shop, good enough. That's not a startup. Startup is a disruption or any innovation that comes up. So you need to understand, are you into the category of a startup or you're into category of a small size or a mid-size business? Both are fair deals, but you need to be very clear where you want to land up. Right? So We have already covered this. In ideation, the first thing is your divergent thinking. Always in school, people taught 2 plus 2 is 4. One problem, one solution. And let me tell you, we need to now start thinking that one problem can have multiple solutions. 4 plus 0 is also 2. 6 minus 2 is 6 minus 2 is also 4. There can be various combinations where the resultant could be 4. So how do I reach to that? If I'm fixated, this is the problem, this is the solution, and that's the best solution, you will never reach to a business idea. So you need to first do a divergent and then do a convergent thinking and reach to that one point where you want to be making money. So these are basic steps of ideation. Because today we have very less time, I can just give you an overview of the entire topic. We can't go that much into detail. So these are some basic steps of a startup. The first one is ideation, and our entire session today is going to focus only on ideation. But I also want to give you the other steps. The second type is prototyping. What is prototyping? You make a small model of your product or a service also. That is your customer discovery. You know, this is my target audience. For these segment of people, my people will buy my product. When McDonald's opened in India, they never were competing with dinner places or fine dine places. They target children. That's the reason of a happy meal. Most of the children drag their parents to McDonald's, not for the burger, to get that toy and happy meal. So the target audience is very clear. Yeah? The second is MVP. MVP stands for most minimum viable product. I'll explain you that in detail. Let it stay here for a while. This process is for customer validation. You thought, okay, I'm going to make a product for children or teenage, and then MVP will tell you, is it validated by that segment? If MVP you have not met, back to ideation. Again, back to square one. If you still keep continuing, you'll be losing and losing and losing a lot of money. Once MVP is achieved, last step, product market fit. And that is customer retention. So you need to discover your customer first, you need to validate them, and then you need to retain them. You don't want they should come one time and then they're now never returning back. Yeah? So these are rough steps that you follow in a startup. Yes, a lot of intermediate steps would be there. Funding, how to get your funds. Without money, nothing works. What does this diagram shows? What does this diagram shows? Ideas are jumbled and it's okay. This is how you start. Right? Ideas are jumbled and it's fine by prototyping little bit. Scaling will happen only after product market fit. You scale up when you know this is a set of segment of customers who are going to like my product. Now the question, the biggest question, what is a good business idea? How do I decide that this idea is good? Yes, I've given you a few frameworks. How do I come to know that this is a good business idea? Always remember, your focus is on solving a problem and not finding a solution first. After finding a problem, what is a good solution? So, don't get confused by such a diagram. Oh my God, what is there? If you see the x-axis, that's the quality of issue, that's the quality of problem. And if you see the x-axis, that is the quality of solution. Most of the ideas will be low in a problem and will be low in a solution. Your valuable ideas will solve a unique problem and will have a unique solution. So if you want to make that amount of money, if you want that, okay, my startup needs to be disruptive, it needs to have a valuable idea. It's the heart of a startup. Right? So first analyze the quality of your problem and then analyze the quality of your solution. How do I do that? All social media tech savvy people, how do we do that? How do we do that? We can run Facebook ads, we can run Google ads. Normally people run Google ads after the product is launched. Here I'm telling you to run those ads before the product is even thought. Why? If I give surveys to my friends and family, I'm going to get a biased opinion. If I start a survey with a market size bigger enough, I'll get a rough idea what I'm thinking. According to me, my idea could be just extraordinary, but according to you people, it could be just a stupid idea. My target customer needs to approve my idea, not me as an entrepreneur. Really, really important. So you need to validate your idea. After idea verification is really, really important. Because if there is no market, no money. Very, very important, is there a market? Do my target customer wants to buy this? If they say, no, we are not interested in your product, then what will you do by making a fancy product? All right? So, this is very, very interesting. Just read that line. Startup should not choose the idea that looks good for everyone. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because startups or entrepreneurs initially don't have too much resources, don't have too much funding. So if an idea looks good to everyone, bigger companies are going to eat you up. They would be already exploring that idea and they will be far more better in execution than you, and they will have far more resources and your startup will not exist. Now what idea do you choose? You choose an idea which looks bad at the first glance. Now why this? Because most of the people have rejected this idea and you still have that belief system that this idea is going to work. I'll give you an example. We have an entrepreneur with the name of Apurv. He is the CEO and founder of Instacart. He's an Indian. He's established a grocery chain, Instacart, in Canada in 2008. He was working with Amazon. He got this idea. He took this idea to Amazon. Amazon said, rubbish idea. We are not going to start delivering groceries. Who's going to buy groceries? Apurv believed in this problem so much because he himself was struggling to go and buy groceries. He did a market survey. He kept on studying the sample size. And after 1.5 years, 2 years, he left his job at Amazon to start Instacart. And soon the idea executed so beautifully. Later on, Amazon wanted to buy Instacart. So this is how that belief system needs to be there in your idea, which is very, very important. Because if you don't believe in your idea, then who is going to believe in that idea? Another beautiful example, one of my students who is Forbes 30 under 30. If you Google his name is Mr. Kabadia. He runs Bori Kitchens. Okay? He was working in Google. Now people think why a person will leave a job in Google and try to do entrepreneurship, but he had that something fickle-minded in his head. So one day when he returned back home, Bori is a community which makes a special type of food. So he came and his mother was watching some serial and he got very irritated. He had a tough day at work. Mark, why do you keep watching these serials? So mother was very irritated and he said, my entire life I raised you 3 boys. What should I do? I have nothing to do. Stop taking out your frustration on me. So he understood. He went in his room and he started thinking that what his mother is passionate about. His mother was a brilliant and extraordinary cook. So he told Ma, do you want to start something of your own? And she looked at this age. She always wanted to do something. He said yes. So that night, he drafted an email to his 50 known friends that tomorrow, dinner at my home, per plate rate, 750 rupees plus taxes. Half of them thought it's a joke. But for certain people believed, and certain people wanted to eat that particular food because you don't get that bori food, and they knew Auntie cooks really, really well. That day, 9 people came. He billed them. And for 1.5 years, this is what he did. Lunch, breakfast, dinner at home. And his name came, the day his name came in Forbes 30 under 30, that's the day he became bankrupt. Because GST was introduced and he lost all his money. He said, Aarti ma'am, when I read that article and I saw my name on Forbes 30 under 30, I knew I can't leave this dream. I had 0 money in my bank account. He started again. Now at a bigger end, they developed a full-fledged kitchen and his name is again under 40, and he's doing really, really well. In fact, there's a tagline, a person who works in Google sells samosas now, something like that. There's a tagline for him. Belief, resilience. In Google, his package, I need not even tell you. So from that package to getting bankrupt, to getting established, you need to have that resilience, that never giving attitude and belief in yourself. If that's not there, please keep working in Google. That would be a better choice. So choose entrepreneurship only if you want to become an entrepreneur. I'm not trying to scare you up, but it's really, really important. So reaching to a good business idea, industry knowledge is important, market knowledge is important, domain expertise is important. If you don't have necessary skills, you have thought of a good problem. I've thought this is a problem in the market, but I don't have a domain experience. I might hire people, but still people are going to make a fool out of me. So important that you yourself have done something in that field. If you people have been following Shark Tank, what do they look for? What's your background education? Because it shows that are you inclined or it's just a hobby that you started. So it's so important that you have done the background work. The ideas which could be avoided now. To begin with, don't start off ideas which are too niche. Niche means a very small segment of people. For bigger brands, it is good to have a smaller niche. But for a startup, be very clear that initially your target audience is a little wider. Then you can narrow it down. Because if you start with a very narrow target market, maybe after a while, you have lost that target audience. Second, looks good at the first glance. Sometimes certain projects looks wow at the first glance. But later when you start establishing, might not be that great an idea. Analyze, work on your idea verification a lot. Issues based on assumptions. Business only runs on facts and data. That is why I said, do a market survey, market research, sample size needs to be studied really, really well. After that, entering into a fierce competition, initially try avoiding that. Once you're big, face it with a bang, but not initially. So try to play in a segment which doesn't have too much competition. And last but not the least, business model cannot be explained in one sentence. Certain businesses are confused. I ask certain people, what do you do? They are themselves not able to explain their business in one sentence. This means there is no clear problem statement. Find the problem and write the problem statement that you are solving. I am here to help this person, so, this is the problem statement. If your problem statement is too complicated, this means then the solution would be not direct. Now I want another activity. If you know the answer, keep it to yourself. I want all of you to add a single line to make the 6. So whatever you can see it on the board, draw a single line to make it 6. Once you are done, I would come to you and see what you have done. Please keep it to yourself. Yes, I can see one person. Add a single line to make it 6. Keep it to yourself. Now everybody is looking back. What has he done? Please keep it to yourself without showing people. Add a single line to make it 6. Let us all try. And now you have copied, I saw. You have copied, you asked him how to do it. Okay. It's a Roman number. How is it 6? Okay, you have turned the table, okay? Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. This is right. Are you able to get it? Huh? Yes? What have you done? Show me. Correct. How many of you thought this is a Roman number? Many of you. And what had to be done? The simplest. Just write an S. That's also a single line. I didn't say a curved. That is 6. S-I-X. If you just put an S in front, I never said that Roman number. Did I? No. But there is another analytical brain. He considered it as a Roman number. He put a line and then reversed it and it became 6. That's another way of thinking. Right? And most of us were struggling because our mind again thought that it's a Roman number. How do I make it 6 now? In entrepreneurship, similarly, the moment you're stuck at one perspective, you're missing the bigger picture. You have to start few steps back and look at the bigger picture. Very, very, very important. Let us do another activity. Tell me which line is longer. Think and then answer. Think and then answer. Look at it very, very minutely, and then I will say how many A and how many B, and then a raise of hands. Please look it, don't discuss. Look it very analytically, see what is there on the slide, and then we'll answer. Done? Okay. How many of you think A is longer? Raise your hands. Okay. We have around 10 people. How many of you think B is longer? Raise your hands. And rest of you? Huh? Rest of you? Yes? What about you? Yeah? Huh? Line under which line is longer? Okay. That's one perspective. Yes? Huh? B. B is longer. Okay? Under the line, that line is longer. But I asked a question, which line, A or B is longer? Okay, I'll change the question. Either A is long or B is long. Now tell me. Yes. Below that. After the, that, I've changed the question. So I'm saying, is line A longer or is line B longer? Now how many says A longer? Okay, now how many says B longer? I'll again ask the question. I want all of you to think before answering. Look at the picture very carefully. How many of you think B is longer? 1, 2, 3, Good, good. 4. Thank you for this answer. Line A is only longer. Line A is only longer. Human mind loves to complicate things. And what I did by asking again and again, I brought in self-doubt. Because you would have thought there's some catch. And believe me, self-doubt increases as you grow in age. If I show this to school children, nobody will say line B is longer, but I've done this with senior managers of corporates. Half of them, or 70%, start saying B is longer. Because we all think life can't be that simple. This is my mantra of success. I always say the name of my company is Amplify with Aarti. I say first simplify and then amplify. If you don't simplify things, they're going to get complicated, right? So, what is more important in any of the ideation is your mindset. You saw, by saying it again and again, 4 people very nicely they raised their hand that B is longer. Self-doubt starts coming. And many of you would be thinking, maybe there is a catch, I'm wrong. I should not raise my hand because nobody's raising the hand. But the doubt was there. You were sitting with that doubt, I'm sure about it. So, is it possible for someone, sometimes you think, oh, he can become an entrepreneur. It's possible, maybe for someone, not for me. That's the first doubt. Then, is it possible for me? Start thinking how. But if you say, it is inevitably possible for me and I can do it, and then you start seeing the magic. But if you don't have that belief system, it's going to shake. You go to your dad and say, Dad, give me 1 lakh rupees, I want to start a business. And he asks your idea, and you say, Dad, I'm also not sure. If he wants to give you money also, he'll keep it back. If you are very sure that this I've done, this is done, you have a lot of backing, data, everything, maybe rather than 1 lakh, you might get 2 lakh. That is the belief, that's the power of your mindset. And I always say, not only in entrepreneurship, 90% is mindset, 10% is strategy. If you fail in your mindset, strategy is going to collapse. So the 2 things between the ears, this has to be aligned. If that's not aligned, that's where you fail. I want all of you to do one more activity. I want all of you to close your eyes. And literally close your eyes. Can we do that? I should not be seeing any open eyes, please. I want all of you to visualize that after doing your MBA, you have got your jobs or whatever you started, and within 6 months, you got your first dream car. You've gone, you've paid the check, and visualize your dream car to be black in color. A shining black car. You're so happy. You're driving it home. You call your parents out, and you open the door of that black car. Before calling, you again clean because you want a little dust because driving in that Bangalore roads. The car is now shining nicely black. And you call your parents. Now open your eyes. Which color car did you see first? How many of you saw black color car? 90% people saw black color car first. Because what you think becomes your reality. Red is first. People who would not have seen black color car, maybe in reality they don't need a black color car, maybe they like some else. So if I'm telling also to visualize, they might be visualizing a white color or red color. Blue, whatever, that is your preference. But when I made you visualize a black color car, you opened your eyes and you saw black color. That's the power of your mindset. Okay, let's do one more activity. If I squeeze a lemon in your mouth, open your mouth and I'm going to squeeze one lemon. Let's taste it. Already making faces. Right? What you would have experienced, a gush of saliva in your mouth. But a human brain knows that there is no lemon. Still my body reacted. That's the power of thoughts. So if you get out of your bed and you say, I'm not good enough, somehow I will struggle in life, then you are going to struggle only in life. Believe me. If you get out of your bed and say, wow, I'm handsome, I'm beautiful, I'm going to rock the world and this world will see my talent, I believe in myself, you see magic happening. And that's the power of mindset. And for being an entrepreneur, it is so important that you have that powerful mindset. Otherwise, entrepreneurship or in life, anything, life becomes difficult. I know it sounds very irritating when our elders say, think positive, and you are saying, mess is going in my life, and Ma keeps and Dad keeps shouting, think positive. They actually mean the power of this. So I'm going to give you an activity. If you believe in my words, try this activity. It might sound very kiddish to you. You might think, what nonsense, I'm not going to do this. I want every day when you get up, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're looking into the mirror, look into your eyes and tell 2-3 things good about yourself. Wow, I look so good. Wow, this is the most handsome person I've ever seen. I'm going to see a successful entrepreneur. Start repeating those lines. And believe me, after 15, 16, 17 days, when you start believing, you might not be in an initial phase, even one will stare at yourself and maybe tears might roll down. You will see magic happening. Try this. Your belief system and the way you start your day would be completely different. And one request, if 5 minutes of getting up, we don't grab our phones, it'll be a great idea. After brushing your teeth, please see your phones, but 5 minutes, don't grab your phones. Okay, so things that you need for an entrepreneurship, one is your mindset and one is your knowledge and skills. So if you need to keep working on your skills. So how many of you think after doing an MBA, I know this, I need not work on any of my skills? World is evolving. Today when ChatGPT has come, things have changed. And if today's leaders don't know how to use technology or enhance their work with that technology, they will be out of the market very soon. So you go to any field, you need to keep updating yourself. People who have told you, bas MBA kar lo, life set hai, iske baad nahi padhna, that's the biggest lie. Learning is a continuous journey. I'm going to share my example here. 4 years back, I was doing phenomenally well in my training and coaching industry. I am also an MBA from Symbiosis, Pune. I've done my engineering, worked in 4 years in corporates. Never thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But yes, destiny brought it, opportunities kept on coming and I kept on taking. But before COVID, things were going really, really well for me. But once COVID came into reality, training and coaching industry collapsed. People were struggling for their jobs. Who's going to hire a trainer? And nobody had thought about a virtual trainer. There were no chance of a virtual training. And if people are thinking also, I don't know. Now I'm thinking at an age, that time, being a woman also, I feel pride in telling my age and I don't think so, I need to hide about it. Being at the age of 40, trying to be techno-savvy as people who are 20 was hard. And my daughter comes up to me and says, Ma, start making reels. And I look at her. I say, are you crazy? I don't even know how to upload a picture in Instagram and you're telling me to make reels? Ma, I'm not telling you to sing and dance. I'm telling you to make educational reels. I told her, shut up, I'm not going to do anything of that sort. But that idea stepped running. After 15 days, I started my YouTube channel. And I did not know anything. And I learned everything from scratch. From having a YouTube channel to having an Instagram account where I record my reels to being active on LinkedIn, I learned in the span of 4 years. And now I can beat many of the youngsters in that. I know that I have sharpened my skill to that level. To that extent, now when my daughter has opened an Instagram account, I give tips. I tell LinkedIn algorithm works like this. You make this type of reel, then it is going to work. I'm the one who is giving tips. I had no clue. So it was so important to brush up my skills because I saw many of my fellow trainers losing a lot of opportunities because they didn't embrace technology because of COVID. Time is going to change. You need to be adaptable. You take up one idea. If it doesn't work after 2 years, you need to completely change the idea. In our times, there were VCRs, audio cassettes. I don't think so. You must have ever seen an audio cassette also. Have you seen? Great. I was cleaning my home yesterday and such bundle audio cassettes and my daughter is asking, what is this, ma? I said, oh, yeah, I'll tell you how it works. I had an old tape recorder also. But who is going to use that technology now? So it is so important that you use technology for your advantage. Blindly following, you will fall into the pit. Definitely. So, mindset, I can't do this, I'm not worthy, I must not make a mistake. So you have to take out those bricks and remove that burden from your head. So elements of successful entrepreneurship, I'm going to discuss certain things you already know. I'm not even going to talk about it. Each person knows hard work is important, passion is important. But there are certain aspects which are really important, which I want to discuss here. The first one is networking. What do I mean by networking? Connecting with people. How many days have happened in this MBA program? 1.5 months. How many of you know names of each and every person sitting in this classroom? How many of you don't know? Please raise your hand. And that's networking, darlings. You don't know people. Networking is not only online networking. You are in a classroom and half of you, it has been 1.5 months already over. You don't know each other's names. Any online networking is zero if you don't have offline networking. Tomorrow, you people will be in different companies, and if you don't network, maybe you have a vacancy in your job. How are you going to approach to that person? You need to have a really strong network among yourselves. How many speakers in this 1.5 months have you heard in GIBS? 5, 6, 10? A lot? How many of you have bothered to network with that person? How many of you bothered to send a message to that person, hello sir, I heard your, or gone and taken effort to follow that person on LinkedIn and said, sir, ma'am, I listened to your session, these were the takeaways. What is going to happen? This is your chance to work with people. Are you using it? No. Networking doesn't mean that you take my number and start sending good morning, good night every day. I have that type of people also in my life. Sorry, that's not networking, that's irritating somebody. Networking means to take an effort Suppose somebody would have written to me, ma'am, from this college you took a session and I really loved, and after 2-3 times interacting and say, I'm looking for a job, can you help me? Obviously I'm going to help that child. But am I going to help all of you who don't even bother to say a hello to me? So it's so important that first task after this session, please memorize each of your names and know what are each person's strengths, weaknesses. In today's world, what is happening? We are very social on social media, but we don't know who our neighbor is. And that's the reality right now in the class. I'm going to tell you, when I started my trainings, because I started initially first into corporates and then into teaching, all my training projects are given to me by my students who are GMs of 5-star hotels today. Because I networked with them, they networked with me, they're friends. And they were the ones who were helping me with my Instagram and YouTube. They were standing like pillars. If I would put one wrong hashtag, I would get 10 calls. What have you done, ma'am? Remove it immediately. Okay, what I have done. I would have no clue. But my strong network helped me climb the ladder so fast in every aspect of life. This is one mantra, whether entrepreneurship, whether job, whether any aspect, if you don't follow, it's very difficult. And one biggest myth, introverts cannot network. Introverts are a blessing because they are very good listeners. If you're an introvert, I'll congratulate you. And it's okay to be an introvert. Next aspect which I want to bring in is an abundance mindset. What does abundance means? I'm not a Gyani who's giving you Gyan. But most of the people in India or even in abroad, they want to stick to their chair. And they don't want to give knowledge to anybody. Thinking, if I tell this person, all the clients are going to go to this, all the jobs are going to go to this. Believe me, every time when you give, you get more. I'm a great believer of this, and it has really benefited me. Because every time when you give, you learn a lot. You polish and you evolve yourself more. So it's so important that you start developing this attitude of abundance. If your classmates comes to you and you might be jealous that he or she might get more marks in tomorrow's exams. Why should I explain? Take out that mindset and see wonders happening. Okay, so we started with, I will not go into details, but I don't want certain words that you should be thinking. So we started with ideation, then we reached to prototyping. We'll not go into too much details, but I want to still give you meanings of these words. The third word was minimum viable product. Now what does that mean? So let me read out the definition for you. A minimum viable product, that is MVP, is a product that is functional but has just enough features to sell. The point of a minimum viable product is not having all the bells and whistles, but to get feedback from your customer in the real world. To give you an example, you want to start an entrepreneurship and make wedding cakes. To get your product launched, you'll not start making those big 3-tier cakes. You might start with small cupcakes to give the feel to a customer. So once the customer starts approving, then scaling up. Every time that you make a 3, it's going to be a lot of waste. If you start with some cycle or some bicycle or some motorcycle, maybe you put the fancy features later. So it is very important to first develop a product that is minimally viable. Once the product is minimum viable, it needs to fit into the market, means the product needs to have market. And as you can see the intersection, you will have products, you will have market, your product should fall in the middle, that is product market fit. That is retention for your customer. Are you going to get customers or not? And that will happen with the research and survey. So these are the 4 steps. This is more in detail. Just spent 1 minute on this and then time is up. I'll open for questions. Minimum viable product is your why. If your why is not clear, everything will collapse. So that's your why, and that's how your MVP is formed, and once that you do, you start earning money. I'm going to show you one graph, not to confuse you, but that's important. This is a J curve for startups. It's a financial J curve. If you see very carefully, before the product market fit, you are making losses. Don't need to go into too much detailing. Just before the product market fit, losses. Once product market fit is achieved, that's the profit. That's how startup works financially, right? If we continue further, definitely we can have a whole session on these detailings later on. Open to questions, please ask. It's 2-3 minutes before we wind up the session. Anybody? Yes.
Most of the brands only concentrate on the niche customers. The beginning itself, like brand like Nike or Puma or something.
Initially when they launched, concentrating on niche is very, very important. But your niche should not be very small. Yeah? But if you have that belief system that this is going to run, it is fine. See, like Ferrari is not for everybody. But then you should have money like Ferrari. Right? McDonald's started with a broader niche. Then they narrowed down to exclude the teenagers. Their attempt of starting that cone ice cream was to attract college-going students. First, they were only targeting younger children. Then they thought college-going students, this would be a good dating place where they can share a softie, which is low in cost. So that's the belief system, right? Yeah. Yes, please.
Even today's startups are booming, they are entering in the market, but they couldn't survive. They couldn't create a brand image in their customer mind. So what should be your opinion?
Very good. I'm going to show you something which you came here. What he said, 90% of the startups, they fail in the first year of their opening. And the reason for it is lack of market. They develop products, fancy products, but there is no market to buy those products. Unless you have a market, this will become a very, very expensive hobby. Right? So it's so important that you need to understand that you have a market. It's not that a low cost is going to sell your products. It's a proper target market that is going to sell your product. A person who is selling biryani at a rate of 50, he's also making profit. A person who is selling biryani at a rate of 1,000, he's also making profit. But the target audience is completely different. And certain people work on numbers. To give you an example of Rameshwaram Cafe, 4.5 crores a month. Correct? What is the business model? First of all, strict no to franchisee. Whereas Subway, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, everybody runs on a franchisee model. They are not ready to give franchisee. Second, their whole mantra is taste, hygiene, and numbers. You go to any Rameshwaram cafe at night, 11:30, you will see as if queues. Somebody might say it is hyped, whatever. It is attracting business. There are n number of people who are going. So many people selling idlis. So many people making similar products. They came very late in the market. Why they are better than the other people? Because there are certain, they make their chutneys every 3 hours. Their products are quality-wise very, very high. Fresh. And they're working on numbers. And they are not even doing too much of marketing if you see. You talk about brand image, there are no ads. It's just word of mouth. Right? Similar example is Zudio. There is no marketing. Tata has caused a disruption with the launch of Zudio. A different segment of clothes and making a lot of money. So So you need to be clear where you are targeting your product, which is the market for your product, right?